Well, I apologize for not being with you live tonight. I'm in New York City working, but my wife's with me, so we're having a great time as well. And sorry I didn't have my act together last week when Brendan did his poster presentation, so Dr. Miranda had a great idea of doing it this way. So my study this semester has been on organizational performance and specifically increasing that through daily exercise initiatives. As I studied, I reviewed 10 articles, and specifically I honed in on two, and this poster behind me, which I'll awkwardly probably get to, will highlight a few of the findings. But really, what it came down to is that in two areas, exercise really reduces the overall cost of healthcare that companies experience from their employees. Namely, wellness programs, what's the return on investment, dollar for dollar, in wellness programs. These initiatives that companies have rolled out over the last decade or two, and really there's an upfront cost associated with those, and what is the reduced healthcare cost for those employees involved in these wellness initiatives? That's one of the sides. The other is looked here, and it's the idea of employees being able to have health screening risks and addressing, and this is where it's going to get really sensitive for human resource development people like myself in the days that come. But the bottom line reality is that the obesity epidemic that we're experiencing in the United States has humongous ramifications on healthcare costs within organizations. Fully, these reports I've read indicate that upwards of 3 times more healthcare costs are incurred by companies that hire obese employees. So that is a hard topic to discuss. It's one that I don't know how that will be navigated in the future, but the findings in these research studies highlight that for sure. So really preventative wellness programs, and then dealing with health screening of current employees and even future employees in regards to obesity, alcohol consumption, and other high-risk factors that would put those employees in a high category for health care costs. So I asked a few questions, 5 specifically, but what is the return on investment, dollar for dollar, for funding a wellness program? What does research indicate per employee healthcare cost is for those involved in wellness programs? How might exercise initiatives address absenteeism? Research shows again that those who are in these wellness programs are more prone to be at the office, and not only at the office, but then they also gauge this thing called presenteeism, which is they may be physically at the office, but they're not all there. They're spacing out at their desk, not giving their maximum contribution to the shared goals of the outfit. So that's definitely one of my interest areas, is that I would say exercise really, and these findings will help show that too, brings out the best. Some books called it spark within every employee, that their mental capacities are running at full bore when they're involved in exercise. So that's an interesting question that will be looked at for years to come. So I looked at 2 articles in depth. One found, after surveying 10,000 employees, that more than 10% of sick leave and the higher levels of productivity loss at work may be attributed to lifestyle behaviors and obesity. And the second study said that although hampered by a small sample size, they had only 22 employees in this sample. There were valid conclusions of decreased health care on a per-employee cost were clearly seen by those involved in health care. So really, my summary, how I would summarize my findings from this semester's literature review would be this. There's conclusive evidence that per-employee healthcare cost is less for employees engaged in wellness programs. There's a return on investment, dollar for dollar, for every employee engaged in a wellness program. Absenteeism and presenteeism is decreased as the health of the employee base improves, and obesity, depression, and other high-risk factors that really do affect the bottom line, like heart disease and stress, are addressed through exercise. I think we're just beginning to tap into the realities of exercise addressing those issues. Workforce turnover is lessened. That is a massive implication for HRD, as their turnover costs are reduced, and healthy, contributing, and cared for employees choose over and over and over again and again to stay in their current organizations. They feel cared for. They feel thought of. And this one's a little bit harder to measure, but I think it's valuable nonetheless, is that workforce morale increases with those who are engaged in exercise initiatives. So thanks for your patience with this. I'm sure this was kind of a crazy one to listen to. Have a great night.